Hey folks, so this week we were going to do lore on Thursday, but I realised we did one on Tuesday because that's what the 10th edition lore video was about. So, this time we're going to be going into just what we should be doing about the actual game itself, because last week I did a video on how the game, how 10th edition should look going forwards to make sure that, Games Workshop on tanking the hobby for everybody. And a few of you came up with some really good alternatives and a few of you didn't. And I asked you on the YouTube channel, on our community page, to give me some feedback and give me some real, shall we say, input into how you would change 10th edition going forward for it to be a success. So, here we are. This is the video where we're going to be reading out your top comments, your top suggestions, and, running the rule over them and seeing if we want to add them to our lexicon of things that should happen in 10th. We'll see. If you like what I do, the subscribe button is down below, and if you really like what I do, the Patreon is also down below if you want to buy me a beer. And also, if you're getting any models, Composite Games are there for you. Use the promo code Northern Exile down below to get yourself 5% off at checkout. Lovely stuff. So, give you a bit of dark tide first as I look over things. So I did have a brief, and the brief was, let me just put it on here for you. Here's the brief. So, what would 10th edition need to either pull you back into the hobby full time, or to be a solid foundation to build on for the next decade of gaming? So, a big responsibility there that I thrust onto your shoulders, and I said, look, give me some reasons that would bring you back. If you've walked away from the hobby, if you've walked away from 9th, a bit disillusioned. I've even had people saying 9th is fine as it is. That's fine, that's great, it's cool. But at the same time, I kind of feel like it's a bloated mess. Every game that I've played against friends, that they move a lot quicker, like when I'm playing games against friends. But even those games have slowed to an absolute crawl that go on for 3 or 4 or 5 hours if they're a 2,000 point game. A 2,000 point game to me should be around 2.5 hours long, alright? Whatever 1,000 points you have, your game should last 0.5 hours more than that. So if it's 1,000 points, your game should be 90 minutes long, 1.5 hours, around about. It could stretch to 2 if you like, if one turn takes a lot longer than the others for some reason, or it could be a lot shorter than that if the objectives are secured a lot before that. But around about 1,000 points, 1.5 hours, 2,000 points, 2.5 hours, 3,000 points, 3.5 hours, and so on and so on and so on, right? That's how the game should work for me. Again, I'm not the be-all and end-all of this. I'm not declaring to be. That's just how I feel the game's sweet spot is. So, that's the sweet spot for me. Let's get into what you think about the hobby going forwards. So, Savage Brewski. And by God, you guys can read this out with me. How wonderful is that? The biggest change that would make me consider getting back into 40k would be the codexes. A, make them soft cover again, and lower the price a tad. And B, put the war gear and points options in the frickin' unit entry again. Making army lists is an absolute headache between going back and forth in the codex itself and a Munitorum book all the time. Dude, I'm so with you on that one. That is something I've never... Yeah, it is really irritating. I think everything that you need to build a unit should be on, the unit page. It should be on the unit entry, it should be right there on the unit page. So say, like, I've got a Grey Knight Strike Squad, right? All of the options that I should be able to take for them should be right there, right then and there, right on the Grey Knight Strike Squad page in the Codex. We should not have we should have a war gear index at the end, no problem, for a quick reference on what points things are, or, what things do. But you should be able to go to quite easily, use your noggin to go, okay, this Grey Knight Strike Squad, they can take Force Halberds. Okay, cool. They can take Force Halberds. Instead of going to the back of the book, or being second-guessed about where it is, it should just all be there on the sheet, right? All of the war gear. So don't say to me, please don't say to me, they can take any weapon from the special war gears list. I don't care. Put all special weapons I can take there, in the actual stat line, there. Those are all weapons you can take. You don't need to go flicking around in the book to go to the back and see which weapons you can take and then put them in. That's a really good time saver. I like that. He says, if I can easily make lists and navigate rules, that have actually had some playtesting, so a book isn't DLC'd on day 2 after it's released, I'll know I don't have a steaming pile of a game on my hands again. Very true, we had that with Leagues of Atan. I'm not going to argue that one. I will argue a few of these that I don't agree with, but that is not one that I disagree with. Yes, Leagues of Atan and other armies have been... Games Workshop should not be taking cues from video games, because the video game industry right now is so anti-consumer, it's unreal. You have NFTs, you have, you know, day 1 DLCs, you have games being chopped up and sold to you over a year, you have live service games, shudder, you know, no one likes that. That's what I think Games Workshop want out of their armies, out of their codexes these days. That's where I think it's going. It'll get to the point where they will bring out a codex, chop out some stuff from it, and then sell it to you later, you know, as DLC, quote unquote. Alright, so Powerwolfen says, I would like to see a change in stratagems, such as picking a set number out and putting them on your army list, so that there are less gotcha moments in the game. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Nobody likes gotcha moments. Nobody likes them. Nobody likes them. You know, it's like, I think you'll find that this, like, 19.895 rule says that I can do this. Think, oh, really? Oh, really? Right, okay, cool. Right, go ahead then. Do you know what? If you're gonna just take rules, like, you know, like, be that serious about it, I'd just be like, yeah, okay, man. Okay. You're now on the not to playlist, because, like, I know it's in the rules, I know it's there to be used, but you have to use your common sense, right? Just because Games Workshop say you can do it doesn't mean it's a good idea for a fair game, okay? Gotcha moments suck. They pull all of the nuance, all of the speed and back and forth out of a game. There should be no rules in the game whatsoever that let you interrupt somebody's turn. None. There should be no rules that do that. Each player should get their own turn that is completely unmolested by their opponent to do some cool shit. You should never, ever, ever, ever get to act in your opponent's turn unless it's combat. You know? Combat's fine. You know, you could go into combat and you do heroic interventions. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, like, you know, I'm playing a stratagem that lets me move this unit, or I'm playing a stratagem that lets me shoot with this unit. You don't get to play in my turn. Sorry. It's my turn. Fuck yourself. I stood here for an hour while she moved all of your army around, and I let you play the game because I want you to have a good time. And I've got stratagems that do that as well, but I'm not playing them. It's rude. Have your turn. Do some cool shit with the models that you paid a lot of money for. Alright? There should be no rules in the game that are little gotchas. That's my worst kind of gotcha, is that. Oh, by the way, I now get to do this in your turn. No, you don't. Go fuck yourself. You know, no. Gotchas are horrible. You know? Oh, you killed my character, did you? Oh, this stratagem says that they're back with 6 wounds, so there you go. Oh, brilliant. Okay, cool. Awesome. You know, I just little things. I hate it. And so your opponent knows more what to expect without learning every stratagem an opponent can have. Yes. Yes, the game is far more daunting, and unnecessarily so. You can have a complex game that's really, really, really hard to master without being a dick about it. You know, without saying you need to learn every single stratagem in every single codex, or you're probably going to get beaten by the codex. You can also see this as your army being trained or specialised in a certain way of fighting. Very true, very true. Alright, Raymond Cyrodiil says, by the way, if I don't get to yours, it's because, like, there aren't very many likes on it. So that's how I go by it, you know what I mean? Anyway. Raymond Cyrodiil says, more universal rules instead of the same rule with a different name. No stratagems. Okay. Okay. Abilities are put on the unit instead of insert stratagem from a white dwarf or campaign book here. Yeah, that is bullshit. That is bullshit. Right, rules should never come in a white dwarf or a campaign book, to be honest with you. Rules should be in your codex, or an update to your codex, or the rule book. They shouldn't come in these obscure books that somebody whips out of their arse and says, oh, by the way, I now have all of these rules because, you know, I do. It says in this other book that I've, you know, unless you bring out, if you bring out a campaign book, it better have rules for every single army in it. That's the only time I would say, yeah, that's fine. If you have a campaign book to update the state of Warhammer, and you have every single army has a few rules changes in there, or a few additional rules in there, that's fine. That's fine, because everyone has access to the same thing. But, like, there shouldn't be single armies getting White Dwarf rules or getting campaign book rules to themselves. Bullshit. Right? D3 and D6 go the way of the dodo. Templates are far more engaging and fun. No new factions until all existing armies have a proper book. An index to put everybody on equal footing until their books are out. I like that as well. I like that too. Very good. One thing I will get onto. There are a few comments saying the same thing. Templates. Right. So, I do understand and get that templates, they do really discourage horde armies to the point that it makes them think about where they're putting their troops, which is fine. I get that completely, no problem. But I'm not sure I want to trade away the time that it takes to do a template landing somewhere. Do you know what I mean? It was a very, very, very slow part of battles, even against experienced players, because you'd be there going, is it touching that model, or is it touching that model, or is it this, or is it that? With the rules that as we have them right now, there's none of that guesswork, and there's none of that bad feeling that you get. You know, I've had a few Hobby Nightmares come in, which I was going to read this week, but I'll probably read them next week now, about templates, about people saying, look, people don't use, you can't be trusted to use templates properly, so they shouldn't be in the game. That's what people are saying, right? The amount of cheaters, low-level cheaters, who aren't, like, outwardly being, like, you know, fudging rolls and stuff, but they're using their template inappropriately. Like, they're putting their template down, and they're covering more models than should be covered. Or they're saying that there's, like, oh, there's 8 models there covered. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. There's 6. But you can't be arsed arguing the toss, because either you've just met this person, they're a new person in the store, there's, you know, most of these games that you're playing, you will not want to be calling out little things like, you know, one more model is covered by this template than should be, right? Most people won't argue the toss on that. And you can say, oh, well, I would, or you want. Yeah, that's fine, that's you. Most people won't. But you will still have that feeling of, that was 6 models, not 8. You know? It takes, the modern rules take all of that away. All of that's gone. There's no more of that. There's no more of these people with templates cheating. Outwardly cheating. And I like that. And even if they're not cheating, it takes away all of the guesswork, all of the time that you take going, is that one model being touched? Is that one? No, there's none of that. You just get on with it. You just roll the dice. And what I would do to probably amend that to get the best of both worlds is make templates, quote unquote, template weapons be more powerful. You know, so I'd probably nearly double their power against hordes. So if there's lots of people in a unit, you know, you get more attacks. So, you know, a certain thing like that, you know, that kind of a thing. That's kind of what happens now, which is true. But at the same time, I want to flip that around and do it more, if you know what I mean. So if your rule says, you know, if this unit has 5 or more models in it, you get a few extra attacks, I would double those attacks. I would make sure that horde armies need to be very, very, very careful about what they're in range of and when. Because these templates can just come down, templates quote unquote, with loads of dice can just come down and annihilate some of these big unit stacks. So I try and find a middle ground, but I don't want templates back in the game. That's just me though. That's just me. Don't burn me down. That's just me. Alright, skipping a few. Bring back universal rules. Alright, so Dwight Bent says, bring back universal rules that made it so much easier to understand what a unit could do versus what the idiot who half read his Codex thinks his special rules can do. Yes. Yes. Okay, so this is something from 3rd edition and, you know, earlier editions that I really miss. is universal rules that everybody knows. Remember power weapons? Remember power weapons? How easy that was? You get no save against this weapon. Okay, cool. You know, everyone knew what it was. Now, I'm not saying it was a perfect rule, because it wasn't. It clearly wasn't. But at the same time, it was a rule that was easy to understand. You got what you were up against when you were coming up against the power weapon, right? You got what was going on. Universal rules should be a thing, yes. We should rein that back in. Because also, as Dwight says there, it actually means that when you're playing against somebody in 40k who has not read their rules properly, even in their own codex, it takes away all of that grey ambiguity. The same thing with templates, right? We don't want grey ambiguity in your game. You don't want it. The more greyness there is in your game, the less of a good game it is, for me. Okay? It's kind of like in actual role-playing games, where at the start of a role-playing game, when you're reading the rules, it says, hey, you know, fun is the main thing. If you want to, disregard all of these rules. No! No! I bought the rule book. Your rules should make me play the game that you fucking wrote. Don't tell me to disregard the rules. Please. Right? Yes, having fun is the #1 rule. I know. So if you have a disagreement, you know, make sure you're both having fun. Brilliant. Okay, cool. But I'm telling you now, your rule book and your rules should be a complete game ready to go there, that's as balanced and clear as you can make it. The second you have these grey, wishy-washy rules that aren't very well written, that way frustration lies. So really, yeah, good one, Dwight. I like that one. I like that one. This one I really wanted to do. It was a meal. Put the demons and the Chaos Space Marines in the same books again. Controversial. Or at least write some rules somewhere that make the two synergize better, as opposed to just existing next to each other. I'm aware that there are a handful of fringe rules for specific units. I want army mechanics. That is what's been pushing me to Age of Sigmar lately. Okay, cool. Well, I think we do have a really good example of how to do this properly. It's in Age of Sigmar, right? It's right there. Use that. It works. Age of Sigmar works. I don't... You know, we have demons and normal chaos that can act. That can all mix together into a nice big mulch because they're in the same Grand Alliance. No problem. Excellent stuff. Same thing should happen, yes, with demons and Chaos Space Marines. Especially if you're a Word Bearer's Warband. If you're a Word Bearer's Warband, you should get all kinds of buffs. To summoning demons, to buffing demons, to having demons even take the place of your models if you want to, right? You should get all of these rules in the Chaos Space Marine Codex. Now, here's the thing. I would do both, Emil. I would do both. I would have the Chaos Space Marine Codex have a lot of rules for demons in there. A lot of rules for demons. And summoning them and using them and buffing them. But I would also have demons have their own codex. It would be one codex for all 4 gods. And I would have a big book, all the demons are in there, and they would be extremely powerful, and you can use them with the Chaos Space Marines. You know, there'd be lots of synergizing rules and stuff. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. But I wouldn't put them in the same book. I'd put them in different books, but I'd have the Chaos Space Marine books have the, you know, have rules for summoning demons that are actually good, and they synergize well, rather than being, you know, a bit pants. US Libertarian says, I think putting 2 armies in a starter box is insane, okay? The odds of somebody wanting those exact 2 armies and those units is approximately 0. I can think of other products where the best sales pitch is, you can buy the eBay half if you don't want. I think there's a reply there. What's the reply say? 2 armies in a box is a backroom deal with Discord to get more users looking for someone to go halvesies. Okay, so the current box sets are 2 armies in a box, dude. The current box sets are 750 points a piece in the box. So all I've done is put more models in the box. Okay? I want 1,200 to 1,500 points in the box per army. Okay? Now, and as you just said there, the odds of somebody wanting those exact 2 armies, well we hit that point out the water, didn't we? Because we've got veteran box sets. veteran box sets. So whatever army you want, there's a box set out there that the army is in. There you go. You can just go and get that box set. Go and find somebody to get the box set with. You know? Like, I got the Indomitus box set, even though it had Necrons in it, because I wanted those Space Marine models, and it was worth it to me. It was worth me getting that box set, because you're getting such a good deal on one half of the army anyway. That's the whole point. You can still buy the box set and only want one army in the box set. You're still getting a really good deal. You know, so I kind of get what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't know. I'd rather keep it as it is. You know, I don't know many people who complain about getting more models. You know what I mean? That's the point that I'm looking at it. I don't know many people who would be like, oh my god, there's so many models in this box. Like, are people really going to say that? Are people really going to say, oh my god, like, I've got all these Space Marines, I don't want all this chaos? You know, no, I mean, of course you do. What if you want to do chaos down the line? What if you have a friend who wants to do chaos? What if you have a friend who wants to start the hobby? And you're like, well, I'm going to get this box set. Do you want half the army? There you go. Paint and build those. The whole point of starter box sets is to get more people into the army, into the game. The point of starter box sets isn't for veterans. It's not for us. That's what I said last time. It's not for us, dude. Not for us. It's for new people coming into the hobby. The veterans box sets are for you. That's why it has your exact army in the box set. But the starter box set is Chaos Space Marines and Space Marines. That's the starter box set. And that's for the new people coming into the hobby. They can buy whatever box set they want, but it's for new people. Alright, so anyway, moving on. We've done Universal Special Rules. Alright. Guidebook says, for me, there are 3 things. Tie the unit upgrades back into things that can be / replaced on the models. I like to kit bash so I can make something look decent, but it's not worth buying stratagem cards when they get adjusted every so often. Yeah, good point, yeah. 2. Give the kits for hero units some more gear options, please. It doesn't make sense that a Primaris can have a plasma pistol if he's a sergeant or captain, but it gets taken away from him if he's a lieutenant. Same for Orc war bosses. I'm super glad a war boss in Mega Armor is back, but please give him options like a combi rocket or something. Yeah, that's something that was back in the day. Back in the day, you had all kinds of options. You will notice that when we are working on the Astral Blades Codex, there are actual rules in the Codex for making your own champion, your own swordsman champion from scratch, like from the absolute scratch, like making him completely from scratch, and whatever you want to do. So and adding points to him, so you can make this a really overpowered guy if you want, but it'll cost you 350 points. You know, that kind of a thing. So yeah, I completely agree. Games Workshop products and models should be as customizable as you want to make them. If you want to be a boring Ultramarine player and make them exactly how they are on the front of the box, that is up to you. If you want to be a mental Carcharodon with loads of chain axes and stuff, that is up to you. There should be rules in there to make exactly the Space Marines or exactly the models that you want from your box. Do you want a Mega Boss in Mega Armor, you know, an Orc War Boss in Mega Armor with a combi rocket launcher or 2 power claws or whatever? Do it. The rules are there. Go and make them. It's all up to you. You know, express your creativity. I think that's where Warhammer is at its best. And I agree with you there. 3. Address the hate towards Tau players online. Ooh. I collect a lot of factions, but boy does it suck when you see the community actively attacking anyone that brings a Tau force in with them, and worse, when the company encourages it on their social media. It's a product line they sell, and it's a part of the game. Either support your players / customers, or squat the line if they really don't like them. Okay. For context, I still play 9th edition at a local game store with some friends and a club, but I just don't bother to use stratagems, etc., as I collect a lot of different armies, and trying to memorize each stratagem is too much work when I have a full-time job and a family, etc. So, yeah, there is a very strange... Here's the thing, and this is going to be controversial. Games Workshop should not get involved in meme culture. I know they get a lot of love for their Dark Angels jokes. And they do, right? They do. They get a lot of love for their Dark Angels jokes. A lot of people are like, oh, you know, it's great, isn't it great that they come out and they're like engaging with us and they're doing jokes with us and things like that. Not really, no. Not really. Because what they're doing is making that stuff canon. As soon as Games Workshop come out and start making jokes about, oh, Dark Angels are chaos really, or all tower communists, as soon as they come out saying that, that makes it canon. Even if they're joking. Even if they're joking. Because there are a lot of people in our hobby who are smooth brain retards. Sorry for the language, but there you go. Right? And they will take it as verbatim and go, that's what they said, look, right? They're all communists, right? You've all come across these people. You've all come across these fucking troglodytes. You've come across them. They're all chaos. Shouldn't you be in the Chaos Codex? Right? Yeah? You've come across them. All you are doing is feeding these people. Games Workshop should not be anywhere near meme culture. Do your job, be professional, right? And give us what we want. Let us take care of the meme-averse. It shouldn't be a thing, but let us take care of it, right? There we go. But I'm just addressing your final point there. Carl Renner says, I would let bad armies be bad and good armies be good. Ooh. Hot take. I'm tired of spending $55 on a codex that is only valid for a month before being nerfed and sending me all over the internet searching for rules that actually apply to my army. Yeah. I think what we want, Carl, is more clarity, right? We want more clarity. The rules should be the rules and that's it. In other words, Games Workshop, play test your fucking rules before you put them in a codex and make us pay $55 for them. You know? As soon as somebody's paying money for your product, that's it. That's it. That should be it. You shouldn't be updating or nerfing codexes. Back in the day, if an army was bad, it was bad. If an army was good, it was good. That was it. Learn how to write codexes properly before you write them. The only thing that this does... Right, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I'm going to pull this back. Get your pitchforks out, get your torches out. Here we go. I think early access games are bad for gaming. Alright? This will link into Games Workshop in a minute. Early access games are bad for gaming because, whilst it is a good thing for young developers, smaller developers to get their games out there and get a bit of money into the company so they can finish their games, that's cool. What we now have is the entire industry releasing games into early access and they're either never completing them or being lazy and not actually fixing them as they go on. Why? Because we're giving them permission to fail and fuck it up and try and fix it later. It's now completely okay for a AAA studio to bring out a game that doesn't work, that then gets redemption later. No Man's Sky, for instance. Wasn't a AAA studio, but you get what I mean. Right? They brought out a broken, buggy mess that had nowhere near the content in it as people thought it was going to. And over the next few years, they gradually fixed it until it became a really good game. That's one success story out of hundreds of failed games. Anthem, anyone? Anthem? Anthem? That game came out a shell of a game and remained a shell of a game all the way through development, all the way through its beta process, remained a shell of a game. Awful, awful. All you do when you let these companies take your money and give you a fixed product later is you're giving them permission to fail. You are giving them permission to fail. And that's what we're doing with Games Workshop when we say to them, hey, bring out a Codex, and, you know, if it doesn't work, just bring out an errata later. Bring out a QA later. No problem. An FAQ, sorry. Bring out an FAQ later. No problem. Right? Bring out a whole, like, campaign book later that fixes a few rules, or put them in White Dwarf. We're giving them permission to fail and fuck up. We are giving them permission to take our money, give us the middle finger, and say, yeah, we'll be with you when we're with you. We'll fix it when we can be arsed. We'll fix it when we're ready, right? We've got your money now, so go fuck yourself. Anything you charge, a fixed price for, that's done, that you charge money for, should be done. It should be finished. A finished product, done, right? Anyway, moving on. Adelwolf says, a return of armor value and facings on vehicles. Yeah, I think you could work that into the game without being too... So what I would do, here's what I would do for vehicles. I would want to make them a lot more robust than they are, because they shouldn't be made of wet tissue paper. I'd make them more expensive and a lot more robust. So, here we go. Armor values now reduce damage. So yeah, you get your saves and stuff, but the saves of our vehicles are, they're so big and so you know they're so easy to hit that the saves aren't like 2+, 3+, right? The best save you can get with a vehicle is 4+, or maybe 3+. So Land Raider has 3+ on the front, 4+ on the sides and 5+ on the back, right? Cool. So have those, but also instead of armor values, the armor values that are on there, because armor values last time you need to get it above a certain number, it just doesn't hit, or you get like a penetrating hit and things. No, what we have now is the armor reduces the incoming damage. So the most armor a tank will have is 4, maybe. So the Land Raider has 4 on the front. So if you do 6 damage to a Land Raider from the front, it has, it takes 2 damage. I would do things like that. Now, don't get me wrong. Please don't say, well, let's just rub it. No. That idea needs a lot of refinement, yes. But I know that we can make it work and get the best of both worlds. We can keep the game moving at a pace where people are really enjoying it, and we're having games that don't last hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. But we also have armor facings and armor values. We can have best of both. There's no reason to say we can't have both. Just because the rules were written badly a few years ago doesn't mean that we can't write them well now. Falcon Wing says, so I'm fairly confident that Games Workshop will not use most of any of this, but here goes. Alternating the activation with action-based system. One unit can perform up to 2 short actions like move, shoot, etc., or one long action like charge, fall back, or a ceremony psychic power. Okay. Alright, so I'm not sure I'm big on that. I'm not sure I agree. That sounds like a long-ass game to me. That sounds like a long game to me. Use a D10 dice system, never going to happen. Just disregard that one, never going to happen. Roll to hit and then armor save. So no roll to wound. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. But the thing is, that may speed up the game, but it takes away all of the power of weapons, all of the nerdiness of weapons. Like my armor does it is strength 9. Oh my god, that's a really powerful weapon. It takes away all of that. I quite like the fact that they just said if it's double your toughness, 2+. If it's around your toughness, 3+, just above it. If it's just above your toughness, 3+. If it's the same, 4+. If it's just below your toughness, 5+. Done. There's nothing wrong with that, dude. Like, I don't get why that needs to be removed from the game. You can only kill what you can see. One model sticking out shouldn't be the thing that can kill off an entire unit. Yes. Completely with you on that one. Completely with you on that one. If you can see one model from my unit, congratulations, you can kill that model. Yes. Completely. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is one of the big pet peeves of Warhammer. I hate it. It annoys the shit out of me. You know, you have a unit of 10 Grey Knights behind a wall. You can just about see one of them. You know, your AdMech opponent shoots at one, because he shoots at one, he's shooting at all of them. Bollocks, don't like it, get out the game. Yes. I really, 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 really don't like it. If that has changed in the game, I'd like to know, because every game I've played this year has used that rule. It's used the rule of, yeah, if I can see one, I can see them all, right? And I hate it. It just doesn't make sense, okay? Charges shouldn't re-roll. Double the distance to a cap of 18 inches. Okay. So charges should, like, almost always work then, because you're taking Overwatch and stuff. Okay. As a combat-heavy guy, I like that. I do like that. I would say, I'd meet you halfway, dude. You can re-roll charges, right? But the thing is, if you roll a charge and it fails, you need to move forwards that amount of inches. And then you can use command point to re-roll your charge. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if I have, like, a 9-inch charge to try and make, and I roll a 2, you know, snake eyes, I move forwards 2 inches, and I go, right, I'm going to use a command point here to re-roll that charge. Then you re-roll the charge, and you get in. Okay, fair enough. Or you don't, and you're even closer to this unit now. And they can just step back and lay into you with fire next turn, right? That's what a failed charge should be. It should be easier to make a charge, but if you don't, the repercussions should be higher. You know? Yeah, alright. Make more missions where the one side is attempting one thing, and the other side is attempting to prevent that. Yes, definitely. Definitely, I like that. I like that. There are so many missions right now that are basically 50-50, because they're so enamored with keeping things fair and tournament ready. There should be certain missions where one person's defending an Imperial Bastion, and they get certain advantages. The other person gets more points, but you get the Imperial Bastion. You get to, like, get really good armor saves and stuff from your walls and things. No problem with that. Yeah, cool. Make troops the actual mainstay of an army. Yes, not just tax units. Elites and the rest are there for support, like spices adding to flavour of a meal. Yes, okay. We're getting into what Northern Exile likes now. This is what I like. Yes. Completely with you. Completely with you. Your troops should be the backbone of your force. You shouldn't be bringing 20 Blade Guard and that's your army. And your troops are just there to make up the numbers. No, your troops should be the backbone of the force. Right? Make all troop choices in the game more viable, more powerful. Elite choices should be slightly more upgraded troops that have 1 or 2 really good special rules that can turn the tide of a battle. Right? Alexander the Great, I know it's a different style of warfare, but all warfare should be based on the same principles, right? Let's be honest, if we're doing a war game, Alexander the Great didn't have an army consisting of 50,000 companion cavalry units. Right? He had phalanx, he had a huge phalanx line, and it was a hammer and anvil. He would use his small elite troops to hammer the enemy against that phalanx line. He used tactics. That's how it should be in 40k too. You should be using the backbone of your army. Exactly, yes. Reduce invulnerable saves and make them a limited resource. Like, if you fail it so many times, it goes away. Not sure how I feel about that one. Not sure how I feel about that one. I like invulnerable saves. I like the way that they work now, where they just stop, you know, they just stop the armor negation, the armor penetration going up. I like the way that works. Bring back armor facing, we've done that one before. Universal special rules, we've done that one before. So yeah, okay, some good, some bad there. Some good, some bad. Alright, let's have a look through, what do we have here? Alright, Henry Roberts says, concentrate on making law-accurate weaponry rules that are intriguing, slimmed down, and numbers inflation is dealt with. I feel like weapon rules have essentially suffered inflation like the jolly old UK has over the past year. Every new Codex has to slap more AP and more strength on everything. I think you're talking about Codex creep there. To stop Codex creep, essentially. They fart out Warhammer community posts of some new weapon doing AP -5 and D6 +3. wounds to build Codex type, and it's done so often that it's all cancelled out, and AP and high damage has subsequently lost a hell of a lot of meaning and value. Okay, cool. So yeah, I agree there. Special weapons should be, shock horror, special. They should feel special. I'm with you on that one. In my opinion, the game should reflect the lore to a point, and interesting, well-written weapons is the way. Not just, oh, this thing has strength 8 minus 5 AP, and no penalties to move. 1 second. And then it just gets nerfed anyway. So it's totally redundant. That's not to say all weapons have to have unique abilities. That's an absolute nightmare. Keep it simple, but keep it well informed by the source material too. Also reduce the size of weapons lists. Holy fucking Christ. Having 7 different types of bolter and 5 variations on the word frag gets really wearing. I find, and it takes me out of the immersion. But hey, that's just me. Love the videos, by the way. Keep doing what you do. Thank you, Henry. Cheers, mate. I'm with you on most of that. In fact, all of that. I think all of that's quite common sense. Quite common sense. Alright, so, where are we now? We've got a few left to do that have a few likes on them. Alright, I found interesting. Oh, here's one. Simplify the psychic phase. Remove or nerf Abhor the Witch. It makes winning as Eldar or Thousand Suns extremely difficult. Yeah, okay, so yeah, that should be psychic powers should be treated as a special thing. Okay? In doing so, psychic army should be extremely powerful. But they should also be extremely expensive. A Thousand Suns army should have like 20 models in it, at most. They're very, very, very special. Same with Grey Knights. But at the same time, they're all supposed to be near alpha level psychers, so, you know, they should be able to, like, break the will of a single Space Marine relatively easily. Moving on. Do something with the rules to keep the flow of the game moving, instead of getting paralysed by too many rules from too many different sources. We've done that before, yeah. Remove stratagems altogether, done that one before. Make those unit-specific abilities instead. Not my idea, just echoing because it's a good one. When a rule change comes in, examine every army and see if it nerfs them into the ground, provides balance if that helps. Progress the story. Hurt a faction that is unpopular. Martyr a faction that is popular. Take some risks with the story. Stop raising prices for a couple of years. Okay, normal stuff. But I get you. Steve McGrath says, I get into the game for minors below 18, like Kill Team with 5 models per side. Good point. That's a good one. From somebody who used to like teach the game as a job, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Definitely. That's a really good. That would make the job so much easier. If you have like small table with 5 models per side, all of them are heroes. They're all normal Space Marines, but they're all named people. And it's a small little skirmish game for people under 18. Anyone can play it, of course, but yeah, that's the game that we showed to people who are under 18. And the only thing it shows you is the roll to hit, roll to wound, you know, and saves. It shows you that. It shows you distances, and it shows you charging and things like that. That's all it shows you. That's all that shows you. No psychic powers, no stratagems, no real complicated weapons, statistics, anything like that. Brilliant. Yes. Really do want to. I want a slimmed down version of the game, but I want a game for dummies. I want a game for under 18s. You should have movement. You should have simplified weapon statistics, line of sight, roll to hit, roll to wound, saves. Done. And charging. Done. You know, the fundamentals of the game should be taught in that game that you're talking about, Steve. Yes. Teach the fundamentals, the core parts of what we're doing. Do that, and that's it. I like that, yes. Not in the full game. We're not talking about replacing the full game, by the way. Not talking about that. We're just talking about, you know, coming to the store, and there's a form of the game that's specifically made for people under 18, or for people with learning difficulties. If you've got learning difficulties, that's the game for you to get into. You can even do little tournaments with that kind of a game. Dude, that'd be so amazing. Yeah, really good idea. Okay. Steve also says, let Primaris, yes, I said Primaris, in a Land Raider, as you would Terminators. Yes. Yes. 1 Primaris replaces 2 Firstborn. Good, yeah. And keep Firstborn forever. Good, yes. Yes, good. Completely agree. Sham says, honestly, they need to dial back some of the price increases. Some of these models are way too expensive for what you actually get. And I want to see less jigsaw puzzle sprues. Building some kits takes forever, because you have to search for the number since nothing is next to each other or anything like that. Yes, I agree. I've seen so many videos of people, like other YouTubers, getting really annoyed because they're just like, where is this? Where's the helmet for this guy? Where's the arm for this guy? And it takes so long to build these kits. With you on that one. Yeah, with you. Stephen Schnepp says, write and release all of the codexes at once and give up on this sales to whales business model reliant on unsustainable power creep and the regular turnover of editions and books. You know what really annoys me? When people take my own points from videos and they write them better than I did. Well done, Steve. But yes, I agree with all of that, needless to say, because that's what I said in my last video, but you did it in a lot more eloquent way than I did. Dylan Hartman says, I believe that with the release of 10th edition, Games Workshop has a golden opportunity to tap into a new gold vein with the online market. This idea will not only make Games Workshop a lot of money, but it will also improve the quality of life for all Warhammer players, veterans and new folks aside. I think that an all-inclusive app that combines the list building of Battlescribe and knowledge of Warhapedia into one app. This could easily be sold on Warhammer Plus for a subscription rate. Okay, yeah. They could even run tournaments through the app in order to data mine what players are running in certain lists. This would allow them to easily buff or nerf units that are either way too strong or practically unplayable. This would also provide players with the ability to make more fluffy lists that are tailored to their own style of play, whilst also retaining balance of the game. This idea was not my own. Please thank Dean from the Blood God. He is a wonderful content creator. Alright, well thank you, Dean. Thanks, North, for all you do for us. Splendid idea. Splendid idea. Can you imagine all of these ideas congealing into my own that we did in that video last week as well? And that's what 10th edition's kind of going to be. Dude, this would knock it out the park. You guys did an amazing job here. An amazing job. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. A lot of this stuff is going over stuff that we've done already, so I'm going to leave it there. But thank you very much for watching. Those were your ideas. Those are all your ideas. Some brilliant ones, some ones that we've gone over before. 10th edition. I think everybody's getting the same sense that 10th edition really is the, shall we say, the crux of the moment. That it is going to decide how the hobby is going to go for the next 8, 9, 10 years. It is essential that we get it right. It is essential that it is written in the right way, and that it is proving to be a foundation going forwards for everybody in the hobby. Some amazing ideas there that I really, really, really like. And hey, it just shows that our community has a really good grip of what makes the game great, and how it should be great going forwards, and how we don't need to nickel and dime everybody. Dude, you've hit it out the park. Thank you so much for giving us this feedback. Hopefully somebody from Games Workshop watches this, and when they're making their final changes to 10th, maybe goes in there and does a little bit of wishful thinking, I know, but does a bit of a jig around, or maybe what we're saying is really representing what the game is. You never know. Let me know in the comment section down below if you would add anything to this list. What do you think? I love you a long time. I will speak to you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow for some more Hobby Nightmares. Have a wonderful rest of your week. See you later. Have a good one.